Hey guys, it's Penelope and I'm in London and I do Evolutionary Astrology. And what I want to do is talk about Venus. It's moving into the sign of Virgo, and I'm going to explain it from an evolutionary point of view and look at some of the aspects that are going to be going on with that over the next months. The other thing as well, if you want to have a chart reading with me and you want to look at your chart and what it means for you, your natal chart or a solar return, then please do, feel free to book a session with me. We record on Zoom. And the other thing, if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. I'm making videos regular. And if you've got any comments on your own Venus or where Venus is in your chart, for instance, my Venus natal is in Aries in my 5th house at 18 degrees. So it means something specific, and then I have aspects to it. But the chart I'm showing you now, this is the collective chart, and this gets transposed onto our own chart based on our rising sign. So, for me at the moment, the Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter are in my 2nd house. And currently, the Venus for me is in my 9th house at the moment. So we're going to look at this. You can see here that we've got Venus is at 27 degrees. We've currently got a new moon, a full moon coming up in Aries. You can see there it's 28 degrees. When it gets to 9 degrees, it's going to be a full moon, which will be in opposition to 9 degrees of the sun. And this is the chart of today from the UK. We've got Mars currently squaring the planets up here, which is causing, again, some friction for us all. And we've also got Lilith, which is in conjunction to Mars in a, it's basically Lilith moved over Mars as Mars has gone retrograde, which will be for the coming weeks until I can't remember the exact date, I should remember, but it's 10 weeks. And I think it was the 9th of September that it went retrograde. So let's look at what Venus means from an evolutionary point of view. So Venus has two natures. It has an inner nature and an outer nature. So it's what we project outwards. So we have our inner needs and values, and then we project them outwards. The inner nature of Venus correlates to how we are inwardly relating to ourselves, and that would be in Taurus. And then the outward would be, the Libra, where we're mixing with other people, and that would be the outward. And it can be where inwardly we can have discordant aspects of our overall nature and personality. And the archetype of Venus correlates to psychology of listening, so it's really interesting that it's how we listen to ourselves. So the inner voice, the inner critic, the inner voice, and also how well we listen to other people as well. Listening is how we hear ourselves and how we, feel what we feel from other people. So even though we can hear, from other people, we also can get an energy about what we're hearing. And listening and hearing correlates to how we inwardly are relating to ourselves at any given moment. And you might see that in yourself, there are times when you'll be triggered and somebody says something and it will mean one thing, and somebody can say something when you're not triggered and it doesn't really affect you. So also it's about how we relate to ourselves and our inner magnetism and our vibration, and it's a symbol of our relationship to ourselves. And this knowledge is in part to do with Pluto Evolutionary Astrology for relationships, and that's you can look at page 127. I'll put the book in the link. It's for Jeff Wolford Green. It's brilliant work, and as an evolutionary astrologer you would be studying that, Pluto 1 and Pluto 2. Our inner voice is our world, because that's how we then get to act and think. We think and we speak to ourselves. And we can also be critical of ourselves, and we might feel inadequate, or we might feel we've got shortcomings. But again, it's all about how we're speaking to ourselves and the inner critic. And we then attract behavior or a style of treatment for others based on how we're speaking to ourselves. So it's really important to understand this about Venus. We also What we project outward is a reflection of our own reality. This is something else that we need to look at, that what we project out into society is a reflection of our own inner reality. And it's what we've aligned ourselves with, and also our soul purpose, what we truly feel inside. So now let's look at Venus in Virgo and what that means. So Venus is here, and I'm going to show you the degrees move. So that's 27 degrees. If you look at this closely, there's Venus. And we're going to go one day forward. This is the 30th of September. We're going to go one day forward, and it's 28 degrees, and it's still in Leo. And then we're going to go 29 degrees on the 30th. Let's go here. There you go, the 1st. We've got the event, 3rd of October. Okay, so we've got the 3rd of October here. And it'll be 1 degree. Let's see, go back a minute. 29. And the 3rd of October, that's right, it's going to be in 1 degree of Virgo. So what does it mean when it's in Virgo, and what is it doing? This is what we're looking at. We can see clearly here that it is in a square. It would be a sesquare, I think, actually. I'll double check that degree in a moment, but that looks like a sesquare to me of in degrees to Pluto and Jupiter, it looks like there. So here's a bit of knowledge. So if you've got Venus in Virgo in your chart, or you've got Venus in your 6th house, you can understand what I'm going to tell you now. So it's a pattern that is inward, and it's very self-analytical and self-critical. And what we're taking into account, this is going to be Venus in Virgo is going to be for all of us, for until the end of October, because it will move into the 28th of October, it will move into Libra. Okay, so this is for the whole month of October. So here we have a pattern that is inward and self-analytical and self-critical. This is about personal self-improvement. It's a focus on what is wrong and to where we need to adjust ourselves, to self-adjust. The not feeling right and self-worth of not feeling good enough. So we might experience the feelings of not, feeling good enough and being very self-critical. It can be where we have guilt and the belief that we need to atone for something, that, we're guilty of something. It can be where we believe that we need to improve out of guilt. And when we do that, when we feel we need to improve out of guilt, then we're basically judging ourselves. So Venus in Virgo can have beliefs and be rigid about what is correct and what is right or wrong. So we might see that coming up with the current, stuff that's going on in society. When I say stuff, it's like, all of the rules that are going to be coming in. It's like, what are our values? What are our beliefs? And, we could be rigid about what's right and wrong. And it's also to do with being moral. And with Venus in Virgo, there is a religious nature aspect to it because of the Virgo aspect. And then also the polarity is Pisces. So we can basically see, and look at it as an idea that if we believe that God is perfect, then, we're really stuffed in a way, maybe funny terminology, but, if we look that something else is perfection, then we're flawed and we're not perfect. And this is not healthy for us, Venus in Virgo relates to themselves inward and outward. There can be a feeling of feeling lonely and an emptiness. And, maybe this has been over analytical as well. We can feel small and not worthy. And also we can start to compare ourselves against others. These thoughts of not being good enough can humiliate us because we believe we will never be what we should be. So we've got to watch out for that, because we're unique and we're beautiful, and we can be hard on ourselves when we get over analytical. There can be beliefs applied to others that then we get mirrored back to us. So if we believe somebody's not perfect and not good enough and there's something wrong with them, then, people will generally mirror that back to us. Also with Venus in Virgo, it's about masochism, and it's also the crucifixion of self. So we have to watch out for this. The inner and outer realities can match up when we have these belief systems. The good news is that with self-analysis, and it can lead to self-knowledge. And with self-knowledge, we can begin to make healthy changes. We need to be aware also that the archetype is, of the inner voice, that things do get mirrored back. I mean, I can't stress this enough, that we don't see it often, that's what's going on. But if we look at what's going on in society right now, it's quite a dream world. If we think about sleep time, we go to sleep, and we have our dream world, and then we wake up and we go about our business. But in many ways, we're still in a dream world that's being created by our thoughts and our actions, and also our imprints. And if we've been through trauma, then we can be playing out that trauma on a day-to-day basis and reliving that, and then behaving in ways that we're recreating problems for ourselves in relationships with regard to money and all sorts of things. You know, we don't know what this virus is at the moment and what the reality is around it, and yet we're having to follow rules and go along. But I do think in part that the virus that's currently that is running through society is ultimately is there's a lot of selfishness in society. And what is good about this, I've just been reading a book by a guy called Paul Levy, and it's to do with the subject, and he explains that at the end of the day that, you know, this virus in part is like, this is helping us to wake up, because now we're seeing how connected we all are. So going on, when we do not feel deserving, we do not meet our own needs. So, and this can also lead to guilt and shame and judgment. And we need to understand this dynamic so that we don't disassociate and bring more loneliness upon ourselves. During this period, we can be overly busy and superficial thinking and superficial nonsense. So we don't want to be superficial. This can lead to, you know, there's Christ consciousness with Virgos. So this can lead to crisis one after the other, and we loop. And we don't want to do that either by thinking, oh, I've got to be perfect, I've got to get this absolutely right. And if I don't get it right, then, and the same in relationships, like, is this the right person for me? Is this the right job for me? What's the right way to do this? And also we can balance this out, which is really important to know, by the polarity of Pisces. Because if you look here, when this is in Virgo, when Venus is in Virgo, the polarity is Pisces. And we can balance it out by helping to understand the depth of our inner aloneness, aligning with a spiritual practice, and to establish connection with higher power. So call it God, call it what you need, but, you know, embracing compassion and gentleness and love, and moving away from that over analytical, and embracing gentleness and love. And if we can see that life is evolving instead of fixed, you know, we don't want to be putting things in boxes, because life is not fixed, and that it is very much in all of its imperfections extremely beautiful and perfect as well. And this will help to bring us back to positive feelings and better self-talk when we look at the polarity. Now, what I'm going to do is show you, if you see here, we're going to look at what we've got is on the 10th of October, Venus will trine Uranus. So I'm going to go to the 10th of October. See here, it says the 3rd. We're going to go 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And so Venus at this point will trine Uranus. And then on the 18th of October, we could go deeper into that, but I'm just going to show you for now. Then on the 18th of October, Venus will oppose Neptune. So we're now going to go to the 18th of October, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And we've got Venus will also beautifully trine. Look at all of that up there. That's beautiful stuff going on up there. It's trining the Jupiter and the Pluto and the Saturn. So I'll make another video on what these aspects are going to mean. And it will hit, you know, first of all, it will be Neptune will oppose. So we'll have a Neptune opposition, okay, here. And then it will be also trining on the 19th of October, Venus will trine Jupiter. On the 21st, it will trine Pluto. And then also on October the 21st, Venus will square the node. So the node is our, you can see here, you can see that's in place already. And this is our life path, and this is our values and needs. So we're clearly sorting out some rules and whatever needs to be, you know, analyzing things for our future. And then on October the 24th, Venus will trine Saturn, which you can see up here. So I'm going to leave it there today. Book a session with me if you want to go further into your own chart with me. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Catch you later.